Hey guys, it's your gay sports fanatic, and today I'm going to talk about baseball, but I'm going to talk about it in a very personal terms because watching this Royals-Yankees series, which is the American League Divisional Series, brings back a lot of memories for me, and they bring back memories of my dad and my little brother, both of whom are long gone. Now, I don't want you to tune out here thinking this is going to be depressing because it's not. But I'm going to kind of talk about how sports can bring back emotions and particularly memories, particularly as you get older, of people who aren't here anymore and you enjoyed these experiences with. So, seeing the Yankees and the Royals is just thrills me on a lot of levels, almost all of them emotional reasons. The Yankees and Royals, if you cut back 44 years to the 1970s to 1980, this was the rivalry to get to the World Series through the American League. So we started going to Royals games in 1976. And the Royals had only been in the major leagues for 7 years. They're an expansion team. And the Yankees had been on an 11-year drought of the playoffs, which was really weird for them. But this was our first year, and this would go on year after year after year, where we would go to the Royals ballpark, which was beautiful, by the way. For that time, it was just a shrine. It had Arrowhead Stadium right next door. So we would go, and this was a day of double headers. It'd be hotter than heck. So it'd be just my little brother, who was really little, I mean, like five, little, and then it'd be like my dad, who was about 50 at the time. Then there would be me, and you can figure out my age. It was just the three of us, though. And I remember sitting there so bored. And they're there, of course, with their scorecards and marking down every ball strike, home run, etc. And hours went by this way. And then it did again in 1977, again in 1978, 79, 80, to where eventually I got old enough to where I frankly didn't have to go. But so just to go back on this Yankee Royals series, so in 1976, the Royals actually made it all the way to the American League Championship Series, and they faced, of course, the iconic Yankees. And we were at home at this time, and I will never forget the final game of that. It went to the game five, and it went to the end. The tension in that house you could cut with a knife because of my dad and my little brother. They were so excited. My poor little brother, his teeth were chattering. He was just sitting there watching every little bit. George Brett had a three-run homer. Let me get this right: a three-run homer in the eighth inning to have the Royals tie it up. Then in the ninth, the Yankees came back and won it, and so the house went from elation to complete depression in a matter of, I don't know, 10 minutes. And my poor little brother, he was crying and he was so upset. Then we move on to 1977. It happens again. I'm sitting there in the summer, bored out of my mind, thinking of going to the pool, and they're just going crazy at these games. Of course, this is days of George Brett, who you all know. And by the way, here is a picture that's just coming up now of my dad. This is years later, but it's my dad is on the left. He's got the bandage on his nose and the Notre Dame Irish shirt. He always wore Notre Dame Irish, Notre Dame stuff. And then on the far right is me. Next to me is my little brother. There's a guy in there with a cowboy hat. I have no idea who this man is. None. So anyway, there's a picture of us together. And so we move on to 1977. Once again, game five, deciding game. The Yankees scored 3 runs in the ninth of the deciding game five to win this game. I think this is the one that's famous for a huge fight between George Brett, the Hall of Famer, and everybody, a bunch of other Yankees. So that was pretty crazy part of the game. But anyway, once again, elation to dejection in this house. And then 1978, the Yankees sort of took care of the misery a little earlier. They won it in 4 games. 1979, nothing happened because neither one of them made the playoffs. 1980, though, we're back. It's the Yankees against the Royals for the World Series. This time was elation in our house. The Royals swept the Yankees, and God, my little brother was bouncing from ceiling to floor. My dad, who was 6'4", was just—I'd never seen him jumping up and down before. I'd never seen it in my life. So much excitement and so many. I wasn't a part of it. I was happy for them, but yeah, I didn't much care. I was football, basketball, tennis guy. So Cut to now, it's been 44 years since these two have met in the playoffs. But I don't want you to tune out here, but I want to tell you why this is so emotional for me. Uh, and this is not depressing. So if you cut to June 9th, 2010, my little brother, who lives in Fayetteville, Arkansas, I live in Chicago, my dad's in Fort Dodge, Iowa. And my little brother worked a nightish type shift. So he would often call us and conference us all in, and we would just talk about anything. So I remember that was a conversation, nothing memorable in it. But the next morning, we hung up about 10:30 or so. The next morning at 7 o'clock, my phone rang, and it was my mom. And here's a picture of my mom and my dad and my little brother together. This is when my little brother graduated from college. He's about 23 years old here. So anyway, the call came in, and my mom, she went right to the point. My mom said, "Tim's near death." And I just been talking to him 9 hours before. It was fine. This is a type of phone call that I hope none of you ever get, ever. And if you do, maybe you'll listen to me here and see how you can survive. So, if you had told me on June 9th, what is the worst thing in the world that could happen to you? I wouldn't have said it's me dying. I wouldn't have said that it would have been anybody. I would have said that it was losing my little brother. That would have been the biggest blow to me in my life. And it happened. And so, there's this whole flurry of things that go through your mind. You got to travel, you got to get your dad, you got to get there. Um, and it's been 14 years now that I've went on since then. The vast majority of days have been really good. And every day, somehow, some way, I think of my little brother. Somehow, I do. And I don't want to lose that. And my dad passed away in 2014, and of course, that I miss my dad too. But you kind of expect that, uh, the way of life's order. You expect that your parents, people older than you, that by that much. And my dad was a lot older than me. My dad passed away at, I think, at 87. So you kind of expect that. You're not happy, but you expect it. But when somebody like my little brother dies like that, you don't expect it, and particularly not at their age. And you don't. It's just it plays with the order of things, of the way things are supposed to go. And if you ever get a call like that, or have a moment like that in your life, or if you have, you might relate to what I'm saying. If you haven't, and if it ever happens, I hope it doesn't. I want you to know you'll get through it, because it was the worst thing that could have happened to me. And I'm here. I'm doing this show, as you can see. I'm here, and that brings me to this series right now, which brings me nothing but joy. I see the Royals and the Yankees out there on that field, and it's been 44 years, and just nothing comes over me but a smile, okay, and happiness. I can feel my dad and my little brother watching from upstairs down here, and I feel like they're with me again. They're right next to me again, like we were when I was a little kid, with them, with their scorecards, and me sitting there like this. And it's so funny that I was so bored then, because I'll tell you what, I'm going to say this, and I don't want this to be a downer, but I would give all I have, all I own, to have 1 minute to go back to those hot, halcyon days in Royals Stadium with my dad and brother. Just 1 minute. But life doesn't work that way, as we all know. And so I have this, which is a good thing. So again, sports, seeing the Yankees and the Royals out there, no matter who wins for me, it makes me think of them and all the great times that we really did have. And I don't know who's going to win this series. The Yankees always have the best talent. So I would have to go with the Yankees probably. But, that's just all I'm going to say on that, you guys. So this is not a downer, okay? This is good memories coming my way. So I want to thank you guys for joining today. I've got my football podcast up for you. My college football one is up for you. The pro NFL one for this week is coming soon. I want to thank you.